Hi, I'm Vivian the Knitter.
And I'm Allison the Crocheter, and you're listening to Keep Calm and Carry Yarn.
Thank you so much for joining us for episode 36 of Keep Calm and Carry On, or Carry Yarn.
You don't even know the name of our own podcast.
No, a knitting and crocheting podcast brought to you by me, Vivian, and my daughter, Allison. I'm recording from New Hampshire.
And I'm recording from Scotland, where I live.
That's because I only had half of the notes, like it was hidden open, so I can read the rest of the words.
Whenever I say our podcast name, I have to make sure to really, enunciate the yarn, because I feel like it could very easily morph into yarn.
Yarn.
And then that makes me feel really American, because it's like that really nasal yarn.
Well, in Boston, they call it yarn.
We have some special thank yous on top of our normal thank yous for everyone who's joining us today for our new episode of our Crafty Goodness, both new and old. But our special thank yous go out to Mayuri. I'm sorry if I'm getting your name wrong, but oh goodness, I'm not even going to do your Ravelry handle correctly either. Either Maya I Loves or...
I thought she said it was Mayai Loves on her.
Oh, she did
thing?
Did she have the pronunciation?
Yes.
Sorry. Obviously I wasn't paying enough attention to the pronunciation. And Dylan, who's D. Bradley, they both said hi on our Ravelry group page in the red forum bits.
In the Ravelry thread, yes.
Yeah.
And
so, hello.
Hi, and I want to especially thank Dylan for the orders plural that she made. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
On your Etsy shop.
Yeah, I had to figure, because she said hello, and then after she made the first order, I think, and then she made another order, and then it's just like, ding, 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 wait a minute, this name sounds familiar, so, yeah.
Well, the, Mayuri, am I saying her actual name right? I don't have the page open for the pronunciation. Her username looked familiar because I think she's been liking some of our Instagram stuff before she'd commented on Ravelry, or around the same time, don't know. Right. So our Buzzfeed quiz this week is British themed, because 50% of the time it is, in some way or the other. And it's, which British dessert are you?
Mm-hmm.
So which British dessert are you?
I am... Dun-dun-dun-dun. What am I? I've already forgotten. I am a trifle.
Ooh.
And I love strawberry trifle. If there's one way of describing you, it's old school glamorous. Everything you do with a subtle hint of style, and that's impressive. You have many layers, which means that it takes time for others to get to know the real you. However, once people do get to know you, they immediately love you, which is a contradiction. How do you immediately love somebody when it takes some time to get to know you?
When they immediately love you once they get to know you.
I guess so.
I don't necessarily think that you have many layers, which sounds bad. I'm not saying that you're not a complex human being. I just mean you pretty much what you see is what you get.
I am.
Yeah, you are who you are. Yeah.
Yep.
I got Victoria Sponge Cake. It says, you're naturally charismatic, which is why people tend to gravitate towards you when strangers aren't being distracted by your elegance. They're being awed by your confidence. You also value tradition and like to play by the rules, which is an increasingly rare character trait. Don't know that any of that is particularly true. I also don't really like Victoria Sponge.
I don't know what a Victoria Sponge is.
It's a sponge cake, 2 layers, usually 2 layers, I think, and then the middle layer, it's got some sort of jam, maybe raspberry jam and cream. And I'm not really a big fan of
raspberry
jams in my cake. So, I mean, I like to think I'm confident in general, but I don't know that I'm so confident that people are awed by my confidence.
I think they didn't get us right this time around.
No. I had a hard time answering a lot of the questions, though.
Oh, yeah? What did you pick for your British chef?
I picked Mary Berry because I liked the Great British Bake Off, and I don't really, I only, I don't know, like when it comes to chefs in general, I think I'd have a hard time picking anybody out, whether they were British or American or what.
I picked Mary Berry too because she's very sweet, and you know the other ones I don't really know as much. I mean, other than Jamie Oliver and Gordon Ramsay, I guess Nigella Lawson I've seen.
Yeah, pretty much that was the same for me. But I'm just like,
but the other two I don't know who they are. What did you pick as the word that best describes you?
I said easygoing.
So did I.
Yeah.
So for two.
I almost picked fun though, but now I'm looking. I didn't even see weird. Although I don't think I'm so weird that that's the best word to describe me, but it speaks to me a little bit.
Okay, British actor.
No, it's a British superhero played by a British actor.
Yeah.
I picked Professor X.
I picked Henry Cavill.
See, because out of all of them, so you got Superman, Henry Cavill, Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man. Who's that from Thor? The gatekeeper guy, Idris Elba.
I don't remember what his name is.
Christian Bale,
something,
and then Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange. So out of all of them, most of them play Americans.
Yes.
Other than Professor X and Idris Elba, but he doesn't really play a British person either. He just plays a Asgardian. Which is why I picked Professor X, because he played an actual British person. Otherwise, I probably would have picked Henry Cavill.
I picked Henry Cavill because he's the prettiest.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason. Okay. So at least we didn't pick all the same thing.
I was going to say, I struggled to pick a British TV show because I could have picked any of them. No, not any of them. I take it back. The one that I definitely would never have picked was The X Factor. But the other ones were Doctor Who, The Great British Bake Off, The Crown, Bodyguard, and Peaky Blinders.
I've never seen The Bodyguard.
Bodyguard is new-ish. Everybody was talking about it for a few weeks. When it was airing, yeah.
I picked Doctor Who.
I picked the Great British Bake Off because this season just finished.
Oh, and it just started here, I think.
Oh, wait.
What?
Which biscuit did you pick to dunk into your tea? Because I feel like most of those biscuits wouldn't really mean anything to you.
I just picked the one that looks like it's chocolate.
Which
not
is
the, not the fake Oreo one.
Yeah, the fake Oreo. I think it's just a chocolate digestive. I picked the one that says bourbon on it. It's a chocolate biscuit with chocolate filling.
See that chocolate chip cookie in the middle on the top? Is that chocolate chip?
I think it might be.
Those look like the generic chocolate chips cookies that my mom used to buy for us when we were little. So when my sisters and I thought we didn't like chocolate chip cookies because those were the cookies that until
dry
we had
and crumbly
with the chocolate chips that look like, I don't know, they look like ants or something. And then when my brother was old enough to go to the store himself, he bought Chips Ahoy or Keeper, whichever, I don't know which one.
Not even like real chocolate chip cookies, but better chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah. We're like, oh, this is chocolate chip. Yum.
Actually, I have a coworker who thought she didn't like hot chocolate until this year.
Really?
Yeah, because she'd only had I guess powdered hot chocolate
in water
with hot water before. So she just thought she
That's
didn't like it.
That's just chocolate
and she's
water.
a full-grown adult.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So our British desserts are not terribly accurate. Although out of the two, I would want to eat a trifle. I like fresh fruit in my desserts.
Though I wouldn't mind. Was that the one the sticky toffee pudding? That one's really good. Okay. Next segment. Whips. I have the same whip.
Is it your Angie sweater?
It is. But I am mostly done. Well, not most. Well, yeah, I'm almost done starting the ribbing along the waist. Not the waist. The bottom.
The hem.
The hem. Yeah. So there's not much to talk about other than it's just at this point, I'm just knitting around and around. So it's a lot of
That's the only whip that you have at the moment.
Well, I did start a hat, but it's like nothing to really talk about.
You a hat?
I started a hat because my Engie was getting a little bit too unwieldy to carry around all over the place. Mm-hmm. And Plastic Elite was going out of business this summer, and we're buying things like there was no tomorrow. And we're buying store samples too. And they had one of those, their Liberty yarns, which is a worsted wool. Mm-hmm. They have a self-striping line.
Right.
And they had this sample that was like stapled on their wall. And it must have been like 10 feet long or something. Probably, maybe even more than
sample?
That. The sample. It was like all of their different colorways knitted together in a big long thing.
Like a scarf.
Like a scarf, but not, because it was just...
So it wasn't really like a sample. It was just
No, but it was...
massive swatch.
Yeah, it was a massive swatch. And then I was like, how much is this? It's like, it looks kind of like a scarf, so whatever scarves were, $10 or $15. Uh-huh. And so far I've unraveled 3...
So wait, what kind of yarn was it, did you say?
Liberty wool.
And it's just wool.
It's a worsted wool. I think it's merino, and it's superwash, and it's really popular. So everybody's sad that it's gone, but I think I'll be able to get like at least. I think there were at least 8 colorways there. Mm-hmm. So I just started knitting a hat off of it, just a cabley hat with the self striping.
You just
nothing special. As you go. I'm making it up as I go because I just had the ball yarn and the needles, and I didn't have internet, and I was just like, I'm just gonna make something up. So that's what I did.
Nice.
But yeah, the yarn is the most interesting of the project because I ripped it off of
very resourceful.
Yeah.
Oh, it stopped.
Okay. So when I got it, my friend's like, what are you going to do with that thing? I'm like, I'm just going to rip it out. I'm just going to frog it and use the yarn. What else am I going to do with it? It's perfectly good yarn. I mean, it might be a little dusty because it's been stapled onto the wall for a while. So, yeah. So that's the first project from it.
Nice.
Yep. What do you have?
In terms of whips, the one that I talked about before is my C2C block, which is part of the modern C2C Christmas Afghan on the Make and Do Crew website, because I'm trying to participate in Rosina's C2C Cal, which ends mid-November. It's November already. Oh my god. So I posted on Instagram.
When did it start?
It started at the beginning of October, I think. So I think it was running for 6 months. Or 6 months. 6 weeks.
6 weeks. Oh. It would be hard to finish an Afghan.
Yeah, so, I mean, my whole plan was to do my first block. Uh-huh. Yeah. For the cow. And so I was really, really struggling with the color changes. And as I mentioned on the last episode, I really just didn't pick the best first block to start with. So things are looking up. I've got almost half of my block, which is the Christmas wreath.
Oh, it looks nice.
The front looks very tidy, which is good.
Uh-huh.
I definitely... the 2 different greens that I picked are a bit too contrasty, I think. But that's all right. I'm just going to carry on because there's no way I'm
Let me see the back.
The back is like...
Doesn't look
not too bad.
No.
I mean, there's a lot of ends at the moment.
Oh, I like the contrast.
I wove in some ends. And then, so what helped me, I ripped it out pretty much completely and started over again. Mary Grace, who is MG Camacho on Ravelry, she sent me a message about doing corner to corner, and she had made a YouTube video showing how she deals with color changes and carrying the tails of yarn. So that was really helpful, so thank you. That in combination with, there's a pretty long video by Mikey from the Crochet Crowd to do with C2C Graphgans, about changing colors as well. So those combined together helped me a lot. And so I've sort of used Mary Grace's video on how to carry the yarn so you don't have too much floating, where you sort of just like how you can pick up the floats within your double crochets. But I've also just resorted to cutting my yarn and just having a lot of ends because I just can't figure out a way to do it neatly without cutting all my ends, because I was having bits where I had 3 different colors that needed to be carried through, but then they were showing on the front. So I'd have a bit of green showing, or a bit of green showing up in the pink and that I didn't like.
So are each blocks crocheted individually?
Yeah, so each block is a set of 3 double crochets.
No. I meant each motif.
Oh yeah, each motif is... Yeah.
And then you're going to sew it together.
Sew them together
crochet
or something
together.
like that, yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I was watching Caroline of
Mind and Muse?
Mind and Muse, and she's doing the alpaca one, and it's like all in one piece. And I was thinking, like, if you were going to be doing that, it's just like you'd have to know like which block you're doing next, and you can't finish one block without starting. Well,
I assume
more.
Is hers. Is it all one picture?
It's all one picture. Yeah.
Yeah. So because it's different pictures, so you do the wreath one is one block, like a quilt. Just
Yep.
Each picture is one block. And I was using the paint box DK yarn, and the pattern she uses like an Aran weight or something like that. And it's a decent size already, the block, just in the DK, so I think the size of the blanket will be okay. Not super big, but big enough to rest on your lap.
So you'll be done in 5 years?
Yeah, something like that. Well, at least there'll be less sewing at the end together, unlike my last blanket, because that was a bunch of
the smaller
little
blocks.
granny squares. Yeah, so these are bigger blocks, less sewing.
Yeah. Didn't you say something about not doing
a blanket
in pieces anymore?
Yeah. So maybe this is like a in-between step. Pieces, but bigger pieces.
It's like giving birth. As soon as you gave birth to a baby, you're like, I'm never going to have another one. And then after a while, you're like, oh, I think I can have another baby. Because you've forgotten all about the pain of childbirth.
Well, I mean, at least making the grannies, the individual pieces, was easy. This color block thing is not so easy. And actually, on Instagram, Whisker Moon, she mentioned that she's not a big fan of C2C. And I think maybe I feel the same as her. But now I'm like, I gotta finish this. Also, but I really liked the blanket, so I want to have it. I think I can suck it up for a blanket, and then that'll be all the C2C I ever need in my life.
Okay.
Although, I could see maybe doing like a C2C where it's not like a colorwork graph gan, if it's just like stripes or something simple like that. So that's my first whip. My second whip is nearly an FO, but I've not talked about it. And so this is just a spoiler alert / word of warning for a special someone named Rachel, who is my sister-in-law. If she's listening, she should stop listening right now because it's for her.
Does she actually listen?
Go away. So she sometimes listens, so she can just go away right now. Come back in like 10 minutes.
When she wants a good laugh, right?
So I'm making her a wall hanging, a crocheted wall hanging.
Oh, that's really cool.
So I'm using a sort of pattern recipe by One Dog Woof, which is a blog. And it's just slip stitch. It's mostly slip. Actually, no. It's pretty much entirely slip stitches through the front loop for the body of it, and then you just do color changes. And it's very free form, which is why it's a pattern recipe. There's different weights of yarn, so that made it complicated in terms of trying to figure out how to keep the same width. And I definitely messed up in one place, but it's kind of hidden and just really aggressively blocking it so that it's a rectangle. So it's got, so the slip stitches are the sort of flat, smooth bits, and I've got a white yarn, a sort of dark olive yarn, a mid-gray yarn, a really chunky navy, and then a bright pink, because I thought she would like the bright pink. And then, so the textured stitches are like loop stitches.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. I like it.
To create some texture, so the really chunky navy yarn has a big stripe of just like loop stitches, so it's just really fluffy. And then I also just did like sort of tassels and then unplied the yarn to get some texture in there. So yeah, I feel like describing it is kind of hard. You have to look at the picture really to see it.
Yep.
So it's pretty much done. I just need to, I'm going to put tassels at the end, the bottom, and then get the loop so I can put it on a wooden dowel so she can hang it.
That's very nice.
That'll be her Christmas present. I was originally going to make this for Emily, but the colors I bought, I was planning, so I bought everything but the pink, so the sort of neutral colors, and then I was going to add some mustard to it, because I think that's more of an Emily color, but I didn't really like it. I think it just looked it was too many colors, but also too neutral at the same time. So having the bright pop of pink, I think, worked a little better, and so the pink didn't seem as Emily, so that's why it's for Rachel. And then the yarn I picked that I bought, it's all different yarn, but I wanted it to be a little bit fancy, so all the yarn has some sort of wool in it, so it's not all acrylic. They're all like mixes, so the gray is a wool acrylic mix by Hayfield. The olive is wool and acrylic. And I think there's some alpaca. Maybe the white one has a little bit of alpaca. And just the pink is all acrylic. That's the same pink as from my Grafgan. But yeah, so I'm very happy with it, but I don't ever really want to do it again. The freeform thing, I think, is not for me.
You like a little more order in your life.
Yeah, I need structure. But I think just because I wasn't as confident that it was going to be okay at the end. Like it felt like there was too many bumps, or it was scrunching too much, or I just couldn't tell if I was doing it right. But it blocks out fine. So that's one Christmas gift. And then the other gift, so because I didn't do it for Emily, I've done something else for Emily, and that's my other whip. And I don't think she listens, but if she listens, you can go away too.
I'm pretty sure she doesn't listen.
Yeah, I don't think so. So her wall hanging is more like macrame inspired.
Ooh, macrame.
Yeah, it's not actually macrame. It's crocheted. So it's mostly just tassel with a little bit of non-tassel. I've just used a cotton style craft yarn that I used for my market bag.
Oh, yeah.
And there was someone on Etsy who sold sort of similar things where they're crocheted wall hangings. And the top bit is just linen stitch. So it's when you do a single crochet, skip a stitch, but you chain one and then a single crochet and then a chain, single crochet, and then you single crochet the next row into the chain space. But so you can see the sort of the V's of each stitch. So I've just done that at the top in a sort of triangle, and then they're just going to be tassels, and then I'll probably buy some sort of mustardy 70s color, some sort of naturally sort of color to do like chunky tassels somewhere in the middle.
That's cool.
So another wall hanging, because those are super in right now for Christmas.
I wouldn't know, because I don't know what's in and what's out.
So yeah, I think those are my 3 whips.
Very nice. Do you have any? You've been very busy. Do you have any
I have.
FOs too?
I do, but do you want to share your FOs first? Because I feel like I've been talking a lot, and now I need to
Sure.
take a sip of my beer.
I only have a small FO, and it's just these cute little washcloths that I made. It's not a seed stitch. It's an extended seed stitch, I think. I'm not sure, but I like the texture for a washcloth. But that's not what I'm proud of. I'm proud of I bought some soap from a craft fair, and
what craft fair?
The school craft fair.
Oh, okay.
And the handmade soap, but it wasn't packaged really nice. So I repackaged it, added some of my own lavender. So this and the washcloth together is gonna be.
It is really cute. I feel like for people who are just listening, when you say you repackaged it, you said it was in saran wrap before?
It was just in saran wrap, yeah.
And so now it's got like a nice, like, sort of brown craft paper wrapped around with you printed out a label about it, and little twine bow and lavender. It is really cute.
Yeah, so I'm pretty proud of that. And another FO that I have, which is, I don't think I put it in the notes, but it's not yarn related. It's sewing related, but it's for Madeline's teacher. She has a teacher that she's had since sophomore year, and she's like a homeroom teacher for her. Mm-hmm. So they keep the same homeroom teacher from freshman year all the way to senior year, and then except the one that she had for freshman year retired or something.
Right,
or left.
So she got a new one.
So she had a new one. So she's had this teacher since sophomore year, and she has just been a godsend for us. Madeline was having a lot of stress, so the teacher called me, and anyway, she's been really kind and stuff, so we just wanted to give her a thank you gift. I made her a little bag out of the tartaned scraps. But
okay, I can tell you the front pocket is Lindsay.
Oh. And I made these this little tab with a button. See? And it's adjustable to keep it closed, because you know how much I love zippers. Not. So it'll keep it closed. There's no drawstring because she's not a knitter, so she doesn't really need that. It's just a little bag for her to keep her little school supplies.
It's sort of like
whatever.
A short tote,
like a handbag. Handbag.
Very nice.
Yeah. So I'm pretty proud of this. It took me a while to figure out how I was going to do a closure, and yeah, the handles are longer, so you can actually wear it on your shoulder. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'll take a picture.
Nice. Yeah, do that.
Those are my only FOs.
Okay, so for FOs, I've got a couple. The first one, they're both things I've talked about before. First one is my Toe Up Gorman Street socks by Ron Strong. Don't think I have that much to add, other than I finished them. I definitely think I made the second one smaller than the first one, which is a little annoying. So I can wear it fine, but putting them on, I definitely noticed when I first put them on, and then once I start walking around and I've had them on for a while, I forget that feeling. I tried wearing them in my boots once. Worked okay, but then it just started to get really uncomfortable because they're quite thick, and each stitch was just pressing into my foot. Yeah.
You can feel it.
Yeah. I think I do get that a little bit with knitted socks, I think just because they're thick, but more so with the crocheted socks. And then when I took it off, I looked like I had reptile skin.
Is it fingering weight?
Yeah, it's fingering weight.
Like a regular sock?
Yeah. So they do feel a bit like slipper socks, but at the same time, they could pass for just thick socks. Yeah, I think I still prefer knitted socks. Pretty holy.
Yeah, I see. I wonder if you had like a really light fingering weight and then smaller hook. I wonder if that would help.
Maybe, but I think that like the nature of the stitch is also so different. So that's one quick FO, and then my other FO is my Venetian Carnival cowl, which I think I was nearly done with last time anyway.
Oh, that is so cute. I love it.
So I finished it, looked at it, and realized I wasn't really paying attention. I just kept crocheting, and it was way longer than it needed to be. So I ended up ripping out a bunch of rows because I think the pattern called for it to be a certain length, or as long as you want it to be. So I ripped it out to be that length. Sewed the buttons on.
You don't have a very long neck, so if it was too long, you wouldn't be able to wear it.
Or a wide neck.
It's not knit.
It's knitted,
crocheted.
It's crocheted like a scarf, and then you sew it
a long ways. Oh, okay.
Long ways, yeah.
Okay.
So I pulled it back to the length that it said, put the buttons on, wore it for a day, and then realized it's still too long. It wasn't tight enough against my neck. So I had to figure out how to take off all the buttons and figure out where I'd woven in the ends. And I managed it. Didn't cut anything. I managed to undo everything. So I could take off more rows and then sew the buttons back on. And so now it's a bit better. But even now, when I first put it on, I'm like, oh yeah, this is good. But then I think it relaxes as I wear it and stretches, that way. So it becomes wider.
Looser.
And then I think, maybe I should have made it smaller. But I think I always think that. I'm too wishy-washy. I'd probably take out 2 rows, put it on, and be like, oh no, it's too small.
What were the buttons that you used?
So the buttons, I didn't do the wood buttons in the end. The people that I was thinking about using, I emailed them, and I think they were moving location. They were doing something, and they didn't have easy access to the buttons, so they put me in touch with one of their stockists who sent me a picture of some of the buttons they had, and none of them were really the right color. So in the end, I went completely in the opposite direction and went for metal buttons, pewter buttons. I went for kilt jacket buttons, which are square in shape.
Cool.
And I went for...
Did they have thistles on them? What are they?
No, so it's got the lion rampant on it, which is...
The whoozy was-its?
Like a rampant lion, like a lion going on its feet. With its 2 front feet up, because I don't know what the history is behind it, but one of the Scottish flags is a yellow flag with a red lion that
on the back leg.
So it's got that lion on it, really small. You can hardly tell. It's an antique sort of finish button, so it is that sort of dark color that I wanted. And then it's got some writing around the edge, and I did a little bit of research because I say they're kilt jacket buttons, and so obviously I work at a place that sells kilts and kilt jackets and all that sort of thingy.
So did you get it from work?
I got it from work. And I don't know why that it's this particular type of button in particular, but this is the button that goes on pretty much all of our Prince Charlie kilt jackets, which are the more formal, short cut sort of ones. Sort of equivalent to a tuxedo in terms of formality-ish. A more casual tweed sort of jacket will get maybe faux imitation staghorn, but this pewter button, it's not just our kilt jackets, it's kilt jackets on the high street that gets this button. It's a square button with the lion on it and then some sort of Gaelic writing around the edge. And so I did a Google search to see what does this say, and I found myself on a forum called X Marks the Scot. And it's a forum for people who like to wear kilts. I think particularly Americans who like to wear kilts. I've known about this forum because of my work. And somebody had started a thread to say, what does the kilt jacket button say? Because they couldn't figure it out. And it took them a bit of research, and they've all sort of decided that they think it says children or descendants of the Gaels united in tradition. Although what they, in terms of the Gaelic that they say the buttons have written around, doesn't quite match what mine says. So I don't know if it's that mine says something a little different, or if people have just been using this button phrase for so long that whoever's making the buttons at this point, if they're made in China or something, it's just become bastardized,
Yeah.
But I thought
so nobody at work knows?
No, I don't. I didn't ask, actually. So yeah, that's the button I chose.
Yeah, they're pretty. I like them.
And yeah, the cowl in general is really nice. It's soft, and I like the texture of the stitch and stuff. And yeah, I think those are my 2 FOs. Done. So many things to talk about.
Good job.
Yeah. Well, you didn't have a lot of projects to talk about, but do you have yarny bits and bobs?
I do have yarny bits and bobs, and one of the reasons why I didn't have a lot of projects is I had a friend from New York come visit. So she was here for 3 days, and we did a lot. We packed in a lot during those 3 days. But of course, after she leaves, there's like all this catch up stuff I have to do, right? Because like I didn't, just shop stuff or even home stuff like laundry and stuff. So then I didn't have as much time to work on my own personal stuff. But we went. She and I are or were, or she still is, big quilters. And I actually taught her to quilt like almost 20 years ago. And she in turn taught her mom how to quilt. And her mom has won like blue ribbons and all these shows and stuff like that. So I'm so proud of her mom because, I kind of sideways taught her. But anyway, we went to Keepsake Quilting in Center Harbor, New Hampshire, which we've been talking about for years since we've known each other. We need to drive to New Hampshire and go, like when we were living in New York together. And of course that never happened. So it took me moving to New Hampshire to finally go to this place. And it used to also have a yarn section, like a knitting part, but they sold that off. So it's just fabrics, just quilting fabrics. And this place is massive. And their sale room, we could have just stayed the whole day in the sale room, and we pretty much, like most of our purchases was from the sale room. And I bought a lot of cotton and steel fabrics.
On sale?
On sale! And Tula Pink that's new to me. So she's the one that introduced it. She's like the new Amy Butler. Like Amy Butler was really, really popular when I was still quilting, and she still is popular. But Tula Pink is like kind of like a new one. Yeah. So anyway, we went there, and it's right next to Meredith, which is right off of Lake Winnipesaukee, which is one of the big lakes here in the Lakes District. And so we did a little bit of touring.
Did you say Lake District?
Yes, there's a Lake District.
That's not really a tongue twister, is it?
No, I haven't had any coffee yet today. But anyway, so it was the lake. The water was so clear that we could see the leaves, like they had fallen and sunken to the bottom of the lake, and it was so clear. You could see all, like, even the veins in the leaves. It was pretty cool.
This was in New Hampshire?
This is in New Hampshire.
Because I know in Massachusetts on Cape Cod, a lot of those lakes are glacial, so the water is really, really clear. So I wonder if it's a similar thing.
Maybe. I don't know. So we had fun. We stopped at. I got her knitting. She does know how to knit. Like when in the old days, I used to have to cast on for her, and then she would like go, and then have to bind off. Either I would have to bind off, or her mom or sister would have to bind off for her because she didn't know how to do that. So she knows how to knit. And then she's like, she's seeing all the stuff that I'm knitting, and she's like, oh, I'd really want to try to do that again. I'm like, it's so easy. You already know how. You just need the right tools. So I gave her some of my bamboo needles, and she's like, oh my gosh, this is so much easier. I was like, I know.
Easier than
like the metal needles that she was using, that she inherited from her mom, or she, I don't know.
Why is it easier?
It's not as slippery. So as a beginner knitter, you're always like dropping stitches and stuff. So as a more advanced knitter, you want it to be slippery because you just want it to, So I got her started, and we stopped at the Elegant U in Concord, which is a really nice yarn store. Didn't actually buy anything, but she just kind of opened her eyes.
Aspirational.
Yes. And then we did a little day trip to Salem, Mass, because she's really into the Halloween stuff. And
she is.
She is. So we went there, and then we had a fun day looking at all the touristy stuff. And on the way home, we stopped at Yarn in the Farms. It's this cute little yarn store in Beverly, and it's just like a converted carriage house, basically. and the store's teeny tiny, but she's got like all these cute samples and felted things and embroidery, and we were looking at the embroidery, like, oh, we could totally do that. Yeah, it was just so inspirational to see all the different types of fiber crafts.
What sort of embroidery?
Just like little samplers, but they were expensive because it was all silk floss and stuff. So I was like, oh no, as cute as it is, I can't start that. I need to continue with my knitting. So she bought some yarn from there, and that's when I got her started on her second project. So she finished her first project while we were driving around all over the place. She made some fingerless mitts out of, I think it's your yarn, some yarn that I found. It was like a pumpkin-y color. It's like an orangey color. Like I know I would not have bought an orange yarn. And it was like worsted weight, and there was some swatches. I don't know. Or maybe it was Emily's. But anyway, I just gave her the whole lot. So you can have that. I'm never going to use it. It's orange. And she loves that color. So she made her... and I just did a simple 1x1 ribbing and then a slit for the thumb, and then had her sew the sides together. So I didn't want her to deal with knitting in the round for her first project. So she finished that within the 2 days of driving around. She finished that and started a cowl for her. For when she got home. So I know she's been working on that. So that was my bit of fun. And another bit of knitting news or yarning news is that your youngest sister is now knitting too.
Spreading the word.
Yes, I've inducted her into the cult as well. Well, I did teach her when she was really little. I've taught all of you guys. And she just like wanted to knit something, so I was like, okay. So I got her some chunky yarn from my stash, and it's like I have it right here. It is Cascade Yarns Baby Alpaca Chunky, and I gave her some fat needles, and she's just making a garter stitch rectangle, and then we're just gonna put buttons on the end, and then it'll be a cowl for your neck. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that.
Does it need anything for buttonholes, or can you just put it through the stitches?
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell her how to do a buttonhole in the very end. We'll do the buttonholes at the end.
Nice.
Yeah,
so she'll be on the next episode.
Maybe. Oh wait! The next episode, it's going to be a video episode, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll be together, but I think because we'll have all the craziness of
the holiday.
Thanksgiving going on, all the family, it probably won't be a full episode. It'll be some sort of special video edition.
Okay. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Favorite things?
You have a favorite thing.
I do have a favorite thing. My favorite thing this time is craft fairs. I went to the high school craft fair, and every year, the majority of the vendors are the same, but of course every year is a little different. And this year, there was a vendor that I hadn't seen there before. She makes socks. She has an antique sock machine that she cranks, and I bought her some socks. I bought socks, and she uses, like the sock yarns that regular
as if you
knitters
need
use.
To buy knitted socks.
Well, I would like to support her. It was her. I should have taken a picture, but her whole setup was just, it was so cool. And she had this big giant sock snake of all the ends. And so she sold her socks, they were $22 for the regular ones, 22 or 24, I can't remember. And then she had all these mismatched socks where she takes the ends and then she just knits them all together so they're all completely mismatched, and they're all $10 each. And I'm like, I like the mismatched ones.
They're like stripy.
So yeah, so you just and the
really
full aisle stuff.
So is it $10 for each sock?
For each sock, yeah. So she had, I saw the yarns that she was using. She was just using Regia and what's the other one? Opal, or, the stuff that you get at yarn store.
And would you go up to her and be like, I know what you're doing?
Well, I was like, I don't think you're charging enough, because these yarns are about between $18 to $25 for a ball of it. And she's like, I buy them in bulk. Don't worry. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, oh, okay.
What was her name?
Her name is Margaret Hoyle. She does not have a website or anything, but
she's just on the craft market circuit.
Yes, and I think you can you can email her and it's to ask her where she's going to be next. And this year, I think this weekend she's in the Salem High School one. So yeah, I was like, I should have gotten more. I thought, but that's okay. Don't need to bring any. And of course, I bought the soaps. And then there were a lot of jewelry makers and leather makers, and they were just, people are just so talented. It's just fun seeing, and of course, there's a lot of the hokey stuff, Christmas stuff, and those are fun to see. But I didn't buy any of that.
Not for you.
No, but it's always fun.
My favorite thing is probably just a show recommendation. It's a show called The Last Man on Earth, and
who's in that? I've seen parts of it.
I don't actually know any of the actors' names. Is there a
but there's now two men now, right?
Well, no. It's very quickly becomes not just The Last Man on Earth. Like, I think only the first episode. There's just him. It's Will Forte.
I don't know. I probably recognize him.
January Jones is in it, and Kristen Shaw, who's in a lot of, like, she's a comedian. But it's a few seasons in, and Sam and I, there's 67 episodes apparently. Sam and I just finished the latest episode, which is available to us on Amazon Prime. I don't know what show it airs on in the US, but it's one of those shows that we've yet to come across someone who also is a fan of the show, and it's he said something like, I don't know, like the brand of humor I some people may not enjoy. It's very weird and it's a bit cringy, but it is really funny. So if anyone wants to take a chance on The Last Man on Earth, I would definitely recommend it.
Oh. Well, speaking of TV shows.
Yeah.
Outlander starts tonight.
I honestly, that one completely passed me by. I didn't realize it was coming back so soon.
How? Wait, but do you guys get it in the UK?
I think I can watch it on Amazon Prime.
Oh. But the problem is, I can't watch it.
Why not? Do you not get Stars anymore?
I do, but I can't watch it at 8 o'clock.
Oh.
With Madeline. I can't watch it with Madeline
but you can record it and watch it later.
Yes, I can't watch it as it's being broadcast because
children.
It's just me and Madeline home, and it's definitely not family safe viewing. At least not the past. This first episode might be okay.
Yeah, but why risk it?
Yeah. So I want to be able to enjoy it without going, get out of here! Don't watch this. Though she is old enough to watch a lot of stuff. I mean, come on, she just turned 17.
Yeah.
But in my mind, she's still that little 4-year-old that would grab your hand to cover her eyes when you guys watch Harry Potter. So I don't think I would be comfortable.
I've kind of lost track. At what point have we ended Outlander? Like,
They washed up ashore on the mainland.
Oh,
and that was how they ended.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah, they survived, and then.
So now they're in America.
They're in America. Yes. But they don't know that yet, or I can't remember. Yeah. They were told at the very end. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of Outlander, I was last night tomorrow is bonfire night, but this weekend all the fireworks were happening.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, so for any American, non-UK listeners, bonfire night is to do with Guy Fawkes trying to blow up Parliament in whatever year it was. History, something. I don't know. A man tried to blow up Parliament. He's the Guy Fawkes masks that V for Vendetta.
The V for Vendetta guy.
That mask, that's Guy Fawkes. And so now people shoot up fireworks. So we went to Hopeton House, which is just outside the city. Pretty rural, even though it's not that far outside the city. And they do a fireworks show every year, set to music and stuff, but the house is very impressive. And we got there just as the gates were opening. We were one of the first few cars in there, and so it was still empty, and you go down this private drive, and it's this, like, big fancy house that you just, and it's been a filming location for Outlander. You speculated that it was Sandringham's house, and I think that's right. They've used it as a film location for Sandringham's house, as well as, I think they said, just within their land, other bits have been filmed. So Lallybroch is on their land. Like
really?
There's a castle ruin, which the outside shots has been used as Lallybroch. Interior rooms have been used for various things. There was another bit that they said was used as, like, parts of Paris. So, yeah, it's just been a filming location for most of the seasons, if not all, so far.
Yeah, so I wonder, I mean, I haven't really been following this current season that's premiering tonight, like, where they've been filming it. Do you know where they've been filming it? Because it's all supposed to take place in colonial North Carolina, mostly.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if they were filming in America to begin with, considering it's an American show anyway.
Yeah, but none of the cities look like what the cities used to look like in colonial times.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to find out where.
Yeah.
So are you gonna watch it tonight? Would it be airing tonight, or would you have to watch it?
I don't think it'll air tonight.
Oh, I'll probably watch it tomorrow morning after Madeline goes to school.
Well, don't spoil anything for me, because
I will.
That is one show that I watch myself. Sam's not gotten into it.
Oh, so he's not invited to the
show.
Outlander party?
I mean, he can sit there if he wants.
But he didn't get into it at all?
No. He watched the very first episode with me when it first aired. Because that was, like, towards the beginning of when we started dating.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh.
And it didn't take his fancy, I guess.
Oh, okay. All right.
Anything else? Shop talk?
Shop talk. Our podcast is sponsored by
your Etsy shop.
My Etsy shop, Plum. And I've been busy sewing lately. I'm making holiday bags. So I got a few new fabrics. They're not really cute. Christmassy. They're more like
wintry,
holiday/wintry. That's cute. And this
lots
other
of
one
animals.
with the polar bears. Yeah,
animals.
And then I have
and sweaters,
snowflake sweaters. And I have more. I'll take pictures of them. I've been busy making those. And then, of course, the fabrics that I got from Keepsake.
Cats and Yarns.
The
classic.
Cats and Yarns. And my new cotton and steel purchases, which I haven't made into bags yet. But, yeah. But I will be making them into bags. So I've been excited about that. And I got a couple of more holiday-ish fabrics that will be bags very soon. They're not within my arm's reach, and I'm tethered to my computer right now.
Very good.
So that's about it. Yeah, some of them will be in the shop when this episode goes live.
Nice. Well, I think, is that it from us then?
Yep.
I'll do my spiel. You can find the show notes for this episode and every episode on our website, which is kcacypodcast.wordpress.com. Our Instagram is kcacypodcast, and you can subscribe and like and comment and review and give us stars and blah, blah, blah on iTunes or wherever else you listen to podcasts, as well as YouTube. Just search Keep Calm and Carry On Podcast, and you should definitely join our Ravelry group. Just search Keep Calm and Carry On Podcast in the groups tabs and say hello. So thank you for listening.
And remember to keep calm and carry on.